Hello and welcome. Today we're going to unlock a really simple trick that will absolutely fundamentally change the way you work in Unity, especially if you're just starting out in game development. Seriously, we're going to get rid of that slow, tedious process of constantly jumping back into your code for tiny little changes. We're going to give you your first real game dev superpower, the ability to become a game tuner, fine-tuning your project in real time right from the Unity editor. So let's dive in.
So let me paint you a picture and tell me if this sounds familiar. You're working on your first character, right? You finally get the code to work, you hit that big play button in Unity, and it moves. It's an incredible feeling. But it's just a little too slow. Or, maybe it's way too fast, just zipping across the screen. So what do? You hit stop, you Alt-Tab back to your code editor, you find that one little line with the speed variable, you tweak it from, say, a 5 to a 4, you hit save, you switch back to Unity, and then you wait. You just sit there watching that little spinning wheel in the corner as it recompiles everything. Finally, you hit play again, only to find out it's still not quite right. It's this maddening loop that just kills your creative flow, isn't it?
Yeah, that whole process, that constant back and forth between writing code and actually playing your game, we're going to call that the slow tweak cycle. And honestly, it's one of the biggest hurdles for new developers. It puts this huge wall between your creative ideas and the immediate feedback you need to make your game just feel right. Every tiny adjustment, every little experiment with a number requires a full stop, a recompile, and a complete restart of your test.
And this slide, this just lays out that whole frustrating workflow perfectly. Let's just walk through it one more time. Step 1, you make one tiny change in your C# script. Maybe you're tweaking jump height or enemy health. Step 2, you hit save. Just a reflex, right? But then comes step 3. The wait. You're staring at Unity, watching that little progress bar, and your entire train of thought just grinds to a halt. All you wanted to know was if a jump height of 3.5 felt better than 3.4. Step 4, you finally get to press play and test that one single change. And almost every single time you hit step 5, you realize it needs another little tweak, and you are right back at the beginning of this horribly inefficient loop. This process doesn't just waste your time, it actively discourages you from experimenting, and it completely kills your creative momentum. It's a cycle that makes you hesitate. You stop trying out fun new ideas because it's just too much work. You start to settle for good enough instead of chasing that feeling of perfect. But what if I told you that you could break this cycle forever with just a single line of code? A simple, elegant solution that's been built right into Unity from the very beginning, just waiting for you to find it. The solution, the key to all of this, is unlocking the true power of Unity's inspector window. You know that panel on the right side of the editor, the one you use to change positions and add materials? Well, it can be so much more than that. It can become your live control panel, a direct link into the very brain of your game scripts. It allows you to tweak and tune variables on the fly while your game is actually running. And the key to this lock is one single powerful command: serialize field. So what is this thing technically? Well, in C#, it's called an attribute. And the easiest way to think about an attribute, you'll always see them inside these square brackets, is like it's a special label or maybe a sticky note that you attach to a piece of your code. This label doesn't really change how your code works by itself, but it gives special instructions to other programs, in our case, the Unity engine. And the serialized field attribute has one very specific instruction. Hey Unity, listen up. I know this variable is private, but do me a favor and show it in the inspector window anyway. So here's the crucial thing to understand. Serial field acts like a secure bridge. It connects a variable that's normally hidden away and protected inside your script, and it exposes it directly in the inspector. This means you can see it, and more importantly, you can change its value without ever touching your code editor or waiting for a recompile. It is the absolute best of both worlds. You get to maintain good, safe, private code, but you also get the easy, user-friendly control of the inspector. All right, that's enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty and actually see this thing in action. I'm going to walk you through the exact step-by-step process. We are going to take a totally standard script and completely transform our workflow, giving ourselves live control over our game's variables. Now, the process is incredibly simple, and this slide lays it out perfectly. Let's treat this like a little mini tutorial right now. Step 1, go ahead and open your C# script. That'll probably be in Visual Studio or whatever code editor you like. Step 2, find the variable you want to be able to tweak. It's usually a private float or a private int near the top of your class. Something like private float move speed equals 5f. Okay, step 3 is the magic part. On the line, directly above that variable, you're just going to type an open square bracket, the words serialized field, and then a closing square bracket. That's it.
And finally, step 4. Save your script and let's head back to the Unity editor. Let's see what this looks like with some actual code.
Okay, so here's a typical before situation. We've got a simple script here. Inside, you see two variables, steer speed and move speed. Now, a quick C# tip, if you don't explicitly type the word public in front of a variable, it is private by default. And that's actually good programming practice. It keeps your code clean and it stops other scripts from accidentally messing with these values. But the side effect is that the Unity inspector has no clue these variables even exist. They're totally locked away, completely hidden. So to change them, you're stuck in that slow tweak cycle we talked about.
And now let's look at the after and just look at how simple the solution is. All we've done is add that one single line, serial field, right above our move speed variable. Now notice, the variable itself is the same. It is still private, so it's still protected from other script messing with it. But we've given it this special label, this attribute. This is our instruction to the Unity engine. We're saying, hey, even though this variable is private to the code, I want you to make it visible and let me edit it in the inspector. It's just a beautifully simple and powerful command. Okay, let's save this script and watch the magic happen back in Unity. This is it. This is where the magic happens. This is the moment where your entire workflow changes. By adding that one simple attribute, we've just completely transformed our development process. That slow, frustrating cycle is about to be broken, for good. We are now entering the world of real-time game tuning.
Okay, so we're back in Unity. After that super quick recompile, find the game object in your hierarchy window that's using your script, and just click on it. Now, look over to the right side of your screen at the inspector window. Scroll down to your script component. And there it is. Just like magic, you can now see our move speed variable has appeared as a brand new field. And Unity even formats the name for you, which is nice. It changes move speed with a lowercase m to move speed with a capital M and a space. It's now visible and, most importantly, editable, right here in the editor. So let's test this out. Even before you run the game, you can click right into that field and type a new value. Let's change it from its default of 0.01 to something like 0.03. Now, press play. You'll immediately see your car is moving faster. But here's the best part, the part that truly changes everything. You can change this value while the game is running.
Seriously, while your game is in play mode, go ahead and click into that inspector field and just crank the number up. Change it to 0.1 or 0.5 or even 1.0. You will get that exact reaction from the source. Whoa, it goes way off the screen, it goes really fast. This is the power of instant feedback. This is what game design is supposed to feel like. It's not about guessing numbers in a code editor. It's about feeling the result of your changes instantly and dialing in that perfect value that makes your game fun to play.
All right, time for a little hands-on challenge for you. So in our example script, we also had that steer speed variable, remember? Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to use the exact same serialized field attribute to make steer speed visible in the inspector. So go ahead, pause this explainer right now, jump into your code, add that one line, save it, and then come back to Unity and see if it worked. When you're done, unpause and we'll cover one last critical detail you absolutely need to know.
Welcome back. I hope you were successful and you're starting to feel just how powerful this is. Now, before we wrap this up, there is one absolutely critical piece of information you have to know. This is maybe the single biggest gotcha for new developers using this feature. I like to call it the golden rule, and understanding it is going to save you hours of confusion down the road.
Okay, so let's look at this situation. In your C# script, you've written float move speed is 0.01f. This acts as the initial default value. The very first time you add this script to an object, Unity is going to use this value. But then you went into the inspector and you changed that value to 0.03f. So now we have two different values in two different places. So which one does the game actually use when you press play? And here it is, the golden rule. Burn this into your brain. The inspector's value always wins. Once you set a value for a serialized field in the inspector, that value gets saved with your scene or your prefab, and it overrides whatever is written in your code. You can go back to your script and change the default value to 0.05f or 100f. It does not matter. Unity will ignore it because the inspector value has now become the source of truth for that variable. This is so, so important to remember. So let's just step back for a second and appreciate what we've just unlocked. This one simple attribute, serial field, isn't just a little coding trick. It's a fundamental shift in how you develop your games. Think back to that frustrating loop we started with. It's gone.
It's been replaced by a workflow that's fluid, creative, and frankly, a whole lot more fun. This is a true superpower. So let's just break down exactly why this is so much better. First, you get incredibly fast testing and iteration. You can tune jump physics, enemy speed, weapon damage, all in real time to find what feels right, instantly. Second, you completely eliminate that dead time waiting for recompiles. This alone is going to save you hours and hours on any project. Third, it makes collaboration way easier. A designer or a teammate who isn't a programmer can now balance the game without ever having to ask you to open up the code. And finally, and this is a huge point for good coding, it's much safer than just making your variables public. A public variable can be changed by any other script, anywhere, which can lead to really weird bugs. Serial field gives you the best of both worlds, inspector access while keeping the variables safely private. By mastering this one simple technique, your role actually evolves. You're not just writing lines of code in an editor anymore, guessing what numbers might feel good. You are now actively shaping the feel and flow of your game in real time. You've become a game tuner, an interactive designer who can mold the player experience with immediate, tangible results. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. You now hold the key to connect any variable from your code directly to your editor. Player health, jump force, enemy speed, weapon damage, the color of a particle effect, the pull of gravity. Literally, if it can be represented by a variable, you can now control it from the inspector. The barrier between your code and your game has been torn down. Now that you have this power, what will you build next?